All right, welcome to North Idaho Experience. In today's episode, Eric and I sit down with Mike Ochsner. He is an expert in brain science, specifically how it relates to firearms training. So he's got a couple of amazing books out there, Real World Gunfight Training, Red Dot Mastery. And we're going to talk about how ADHD is a superpower. So lots of great information. Eric and I learned some pretty cool tricks that were very relatable to us with our backgrounds in law enforcement and tactical training. And Mike is definitely the mad scientist of tactical firearms training, as it says in his book. He's the creator of Dry Fire Praxis Protocol and author of these books, as I just mentioned. So lots of good information. This was a cool conversation, and we learned some pretty neat tricks to rewire your brain. So here we go. If you guys are thinking about making the move up here, hit us up. Our team is all former first responders and or veterans, and we specialize in helping conservative families find their freedom right here in North Idaho. Let's go. Man, hey, so we're going to talk about some gunfighting today. I'm pretty stoked about this. This is a topic I love. We're also going to talk about something we say all the time, ADHD as a superpower. That's freaking amazing.
Weaponizing your ADHD.
Yeah, so thank you, Mike. I appreciate you showing up. I didn't actually a listener of our show who's now a friend of mine, shout out to Joe, he gave me a heads up, and he's like, yeah, Mike's up in North Idaho. And I was like, oh, shit. So I found you, and here we are. So pretty cool. What's your background? How long you been up here?
Been here 13 years now.
Okay, that's a good long time. What'd you do before this?
I'm kind of a mutt.
Okay.
So financial planning, real estate investing.
Oh, no kidding.
Ended up, I sold a real estate company and became a full-time backpacking guide in Colorado at a church camp. And
this is not the background I was expecting. This is cool, man. This is very interesting. All right.
Yeah.
And then over the course of a few years, wrote a couple books on survival and preparedness. And then that market got kind of, all the marketing bros came into it.
Yeah.
And kind of turned it from something good into, it got kind of nasty.
Saturated junk. Yeah.
And I'd been doing some, at the time, it was unique stuff with Dry Fire.
Yeah.
And it was because of the 2008 crash. And I knew I needed to train, and I didn't have the money to do it. And so I trained with Olympic coaches in junior high and high school and learned some pretty cool accelerated learning techniques for physical skills, and took that and Dry Fire and mental imagery and combined it together and made a system. And I improved more in the next couple of weeks than I had in the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. And started sharing it with people, and then teaching. And then the next big event that happened was the consequences of 15 that I could count concussions where I lost time. Mm-hmm. I had vertigo almost every night. My eyes didn't track correctly. Couldn't really read well anymore. Anger issues, sleep issues, all sorts of different things going on. And I was like, this sucks. And ended up doing a deep dive into neurology and fixing it and getting my brain back and getting my life back, and started using those drills with people who didn't have concussions, and was seeing gains in speed and accuracy that you'd normally see after a 2 to 3 day class in 5 to 10 minutes.
That's wild. Wow. So you're applying skills from your previous life experience into this new world, and figuring out a better way to do it. What's the number one thing that you're correcting on people when it comes to firing? Is it trigger control?
No. Flinch and vision issues.
Okay.
And the vision issues can either be because their eyes aren't working together correctly, they're not both pointed at what they're looking at, mm-hmm. or they're not moving at the same speed, or their eyes and their ears are telling them that straight ahead is two different directions.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when people consistently bring up the gun and it's off to the side and they have to correct.
Okay.
Off to the side and they have to correct.
Oh, man.
This is interesting. So were you ever like military or law enforcement?
No.
See, it's crazy. We talked about this before with Josh with G9.
Yeah.
Right? Where he kind of came from a completely different industry, kind of unexpected, because you expect somebody that's like firearms, right, a trainer, to be coming from that background. You just kind of expect that. And just like him over there, you'd expect like military background or law enforcement, if you're going to get into making rounds. You just kind of have that assumption. But sometimes somebody comes into the field from a completely different industry, from a totally different angle, and change the way that you think about it.
A disruptor.
Yeah, well, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? Just because you look at it. His was sheet metal, but he looked at the way that rounds rip through cars. He's like, wait, there's a totally different method here.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow the same track as everybody else. Yours actually came from experiencing, having multiple concussions and probably getting into the brain and neurology. And you're like, wait a minute, there's a better way to train here.
Right.
Yeah.
You're attacking it from a whole different angle. That's very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
I think people get stuck in their patterns of doing things, and that's the way we've always done it. And,
Yeah, beep.
And then
boom,
when you
beep.
bring a disruptor in,
Yes.
that changes the whole rule set. And I think it's super beneficial to whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, it can be industry altering.
Yes.
Right? And towards something else. And it's always good to take it from a different perspective in my opinion.
Right.
You said multiple concussions. How'd that happen?
A lot of stupid fun.
Yeah. All right, that's valid. That checks out.
So my brother was SF, and I couldn't enlist, so I had my app ripped up a couple of times, and I found out after the fact the reason they did that was so that I could come back and lie and say what they wanted. But I had a lot of immune issues and health issues and asthma growing up, and so in the 90s nobody wanted anyone with asthma.
Right. I remember that era.
Yep.
Now I don't think it's too tough. Or back in the day, it was like any medications for ADD or ADHD, but now like 75% of kids have had
Yeah,
medications
it's a
for ADD
completely
or
different
ADHD.
world.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, how it's a
We're gonna get
superpower. Just
there.
let it ride anyways. No, totally good.
But yeah, skiing into rocks and trees. Let's see, what else? Rugby.
No, that'll do it.
Did full contact fighting and picked up a few that way. Not so much from punches and kicks, but hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
Getting my feet taken out and head hitting the ground.
Right. Wild. So it totally changed the way. So then you got into the way the human brain works.
Yeah.
Like neurology. Did you go study that somewhere? Or just deep dive it?
Well, at first it was an accident. I was down in Prescott for a shooting class and stopped off at an applied neurology clinic in Phoenix, and some friends had said that I needed to talk to them about what I was doing and what they were doing and see if we could work together. And prior 6 months, I hadn't been able to do a single push-up without pain. And with about 20 minutes of vision and balance drills, I did 20 push-ups without pain.
Interesting. So you're like, oh, weird. It's all connected.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the drills, pain came back. Did the drills, pain went away. Didn't do the drills, pain came back. I was a little slow on picking up the connection.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's I still struggle with that. Like I recognize it that all of these systems are connected in our bodies, but there's like the little baby Seth in me just doesn't want to admit it, and I still go do the dumb things that I've always done and not putting it all together. But I know what I need to do.
Yes.
Eating all of this stuff, everything. It's all tied together.
Yeah, and your
How we
brain
feel.
Inflammation. Your brain needs reps just like the rest of you does.
Yeah.
Were you in Prescott, Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you live down there? Or you just-
No. There's a really, really cool range and family. They've got it's Insight Firearms Training.
Oh yeah.
And Matt Siebert, he was the general manager of Gunsight, and he wanted to go a different direction because he'd been in a few gunfights and just saw that things were changing. There were different techniques that were for teaching and for shooting that were working better. And so he took 15 years and did a deep dive into hypnosis, conversational hypnosis, NLP, and skill development. and created a system basically to get students into alpha brainwave state very quickly so that they're able to learn much quicker.
Yeah.
And then how to anchor that and trigger it in high stress situations so that you got the initial adrenaline dump, but your brainwave state comes down to a more manageable level so that you can perform better.
And your retention level is higher.
Way higher.
See, I would have been a non-believer for a lot of this stuff for a long time. I'd have been like, brains is whatever. Like, you just got to go out and do the reps.
Better.
But I attended, and I saw that you did also, but I attended the Force Science Institute.
Yeah.
And was an analyst with that. It was actually in Mesa, Arizona. I went down there. That's where my SWAT basic was.
Okay.
Because our police chief was from Mesa. But yeah, that class completely changed my mind. It made so much sense to me when you're talking about human performance analytics and you break it down by like athletes. Yeah. Why is it that a baseball player typically responds to a critical use of force incident faster than other athletes? You're like, that doesn't make any sense, because you'd think it'd be like MMA fighters or football or something, wrestlers, something like that, because it's a fight. No. It's all about your eyes. Yep. It's your eye discipline in your brain and your ability to perceive what is actually coming. Because by the way, as fast as our brains are able to respond to a stimulus, a baseball player should not be able to hit a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Mm-hmm. We can't respond fast enough to orient. It is picking up where their elbow is, where their shoulder is, and then making a predictable, having a prediction on where that ball is actually going to be. So that class changed my entire perception about training and uses of force. But a lot of what you're mentioning, I see it's vision training. Mm-hmm. They had those guys that were in like Northern Ireland that are getting reps every single day, that are in shootings weekly or bi-weekly. And they put them through the test where it follows their eyes.
Yeah.
And guys that are in that all the time, it's like, what do they call it? Lazy eyes?
Quiet eye.
Quiet eyes, yeah, where it's just like boom. But somebody that's not in that all the time, it's like whack, 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 whack. It's all over. It's all over the place.
Or it's like playing chess.
Yeah.
Somebody new playing chess, they've got 1,000 options. Somebody who's been playing chess for 5 or 10 years, there's like 5 options.
Right. And it's much easier.
Much simpler.
Yes.
Way less effort, way more outcome.
Go back to the quiet eye thing. So like, say you're making entry on a house.
Yep.
These guys, their eyes are tracking differently across the room, or just slower?
Yes, it's like perception of threat. Man, this is your world. But they set up a scenario where they had cops, like beat cops, and some cops that had been on the road, for 6 months. Some cops that had been on the road for 5 years. And then they had these Northern Ireland fast teams. And I can't remember the name of the doc that started Force Science, but he was
Lewinsky.
Yes,
Lewinsky.
yeah. He was a professor out of Minnesota, and he kind of got into this and fell backwards into it. And it was through the human performance side. He goes, "We're looking at these uses of force analysis all wrong. Like, this is not how the brain works." But anyways, so they put the glasses on where they can track where their eyes goes, and this threat presents itself. And this was more like an active shooter, like somebody walking in, and the guys that were the fast team guys that were in shootings frequently, multiple per year, they're looking at Mike coming in, and it's like shoulders, hips, elbows, but it's very methodical. And then there might be a check to the door, but it's very smooth. It's very systematic. And then if it's a new cop, it's like, it's like bouncing all over the place.
Interesting. No one's ever talked to me about eyes.
Really?
Dude. Yes.
Oh man. Yeah. That's
it was there's the typical stuff like scanning the room or whatever, but it was never trying to slow down your eyes. And I think back to I was on a warrant service team, and the first few times I make entry on a active arrest warrant or search warrant, it's high stress for sure. I missed things. Obvious things, shockingly obvious things. And we do a debrief at the end, and then the OGs are there, and they're like, "Oh, did you see this, 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 and this?" I'm like, "I didn't see shit, dude." Like, I just went in. I literally walked by a woman sitting on a couch one time, and like somebody else picked her up, thankfully, but I didn't even register because I was so focused on something else. And talking about eyes would have been hugely beneficial to me.
Yeah, but when Lewinsky breaks down uses of force, when they're like going after cops, that's usually what it is. Some city officials are going after cops. And one of them was in Boston, I think, where the guy was actively in a fight trying to restrain somebody, and it was a team. It was like a jump out team. And he's actively fighting with one, and his partner runs to the side of him and gets into a use of force that they questioned, and they called this guy a liar because he didn't see it. And he's explaining, he's like, when you're in one of these, and there was a weapon involved, there's no other, like, that's where the focus is. Like, you don't get to just go, our eyes are not a camera. Our brain doesn't work like that, and it fills in gaps and excludes things. So coming out of that, it was a lot easier to forgive myself for something like that, where I missed something. Yeah. Where, like that lady on the couch, that wasn't your priority. You're like, hey, subject's in the back, and you're looking, and if you hadn't been there in a long time. So it was eye-opening to me. Eyes are a function of your brain. They're a tool. They're not a camera. It doesn't have immediate recall. It's crazy. Anyways, I don't know. I was going to nerd out on force science because that was such a cool class. I mean,
well, there's one of the studies that they did that is available to the public that is awesome talking about this. And what it is a lady at a table and a guy who comes in and is getting irate with her. And the officer's about 10, 15 feet behind him. And with the novice officer, what happens is the guy pulls out the gun, shoots the lady, turns around, shoots the officer, and usually he's got the first shot off before the officer clears leather.
Right.
With the experienced officer, he keys off as soon as the elbow moves.
Yeah, right.
And steps off line, draws, and he's not where he was when the bad guy turns around.
Yeah, he gets off the X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you train that? You know what I mean? I think you pick up some of that in life, maybe through sports, maybe through other things where you're like picking up these subtle body movements, subtle cues, pre-fight indicators if you're in the martial arts world. But training that specifically to people who have no background in that seems like a task.
Yeah, I use video. I use still images where just cycle through 40 images. What is it? Challenge Targets has a set of targets where the front is a typical shoot scenario, and then on the back is 6 different hands with 6 different items in it. So you take 2 targets, you cut out the 6 targets, or you cut out the 6 hands on one, and one at a time you smack them onto the...
I always like doing those. We would kind of make our own because we didn't have fancy stuff like that, but when you're doing shoot no shoot scenarios at the range, I loved doing those because it does get you thinking a lot, especially if you're hitting a shoot house and now you're entering multiple rooms and switching it up every time, and you've got those shoot no shoot scenarios because they're important. And why? I've been out of law enforcement 5 years. I've watched people's hands constantly.
Well, and I think some of that would come naturally for you because you fight. So you're always looking for, pre-move indicators. What are they going to do next? So you're watching the way, like the shift of body weight. Yeah. I was really big on human behavior. As it helped me do my job because I was a dope cop. But watching people when I think they're either being dishonest or they're going to give me a subtle tell, or I'm watching their jugular pulsate, or I'm watching them clench. I used to do this all the time where I'm talking to somebody and they're clenching their jaw and they're doing this. I say, don't. I see what you're doing. Like I see what you're doing and it's not worth it. Like, we're already here now.
That is the most fun thing to do because they're so caught up in this. They have no idea they're putting all the indicators, like they're going to throw a punch at you.
And they have no idea they're doing it.
And you head it off and like it just disrupts their OODA loop. You probably talk about OODA loops a lot. Yeah. It disrupts their OODA loops so hard. They're like,
oh. And it's fight or flight. I probably pissed off a few guys on my team because chasing people is fun. Yeah. But I would say, don't run, man. I can see what you're doing. Like, you're shifting your weight and you're looking for an angle. Don't do it. We're going to catch you and it's just going to be more charges. Yeah. Like, we're here now, right? And the pre-fight indicators and pre-flight indicators are very similar, and sometimes they're the same. It's a wild, when you start to see it, it reminds me of like the Matrix, where you start seeing, now you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Everything open.
Oh my God, this completely makes sense. But it changed the way that I used to teach and train. I mean, as a sergeant. And then I set up drills like this for the reserves because I think The military in general for a really long time just failed to prepare people for real world scenarios because we were too busy doing equal opportunity employment training. But I set up some drills, and I did the bag drills, which I don't know if you've ever run these, but we cheat. Humans cheat. So if you're going to go to like in-service training, or you're going to you're going to try to pregame it. You're going to try to gather as much intel as you can as you're walking up. You're watching other people come. You naturally cheat because you want to prepare yourself, right? You want to have as much data as possible. Bag drills, you literally get earmuffs. They put a bag over you, and you're in a corner, and then it's like spin you around. Poof! Here's your scenario, because it uses different parts of your brain. So it's how fast can you get out of the reactive part of your brain and get back to the problem-solving part of your brain. So when you talk about eyes, like that was one of the ones, like, what are you going to threat assess first? Like, Cooley, this, okay, this is my problem right now. He's whatever it is, because it's usually like some sort of domestic or a fight, or a fight at the gate or something. But that's how where I think you train that. It has to be stress-induced.
Eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. There has to be.
At first it's familiarity, because the more things you have to think about, the slower you're going to be. The more things you have automated and the OODA loop is instant, instead of having to cognitively go through each step. The more you're going to be able to handle.
That's why we hammer down on the fundamentals, right? Like,
Yeah.
I always relate everything to jiu-jitsu. That's my hobby. And just mastering the fundamentals, the really basic stuff, so that you can create those shortcuts in your brain when it comes time to do it in real life. You don't have to think about it at all. Same with shooting, right? I mean, you're building those fundamentals. Now, when you have outside stimuli coming in, that's a lot. You're not having to think about even drawing my gun. Every time I drew my gun as a cop, like, I didn't even think about it. My gun was just in my hand on it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's handy. I needed that. So, the more shortcuts you can create, the better. Is that
high quality.
That's key, right?
Like with reality-based training, you guys probably were exposed to trunk monkeys and attic monkeys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they're horrible.
Yeah.
Because they get you to focus on the wrong thing. And now you're distracted by the 1%, not even 1%, the 1 in a million thing.
Yeah.
When you've got the bread and butter right in front of you.
They still train traffic stops like that. You walk up, you touch the trunk.
Yeah. Well, you were at the you helped me with officer safety and survival this year. We really tried to get away from that, right? Where we used to call them ninjas in the trees. Yeah. Where it's like freaking snipers on rooftops. You're like,
you can't plan for those scenarios. Right? You got to focus on the high priority or high possible.
And it's not that you shouldn't be aware of your surroundings, and that's what we try to train to. But what I want you to check is pre-fight indicators. I want you to watch people's body language. That's what's going to save you in real life. And it's so important to have really good actors there that get that. Yeah. That can really. Because what you want is that to be a part of their schema now, right? And I learned that at Force Science. The schema, how it lines into your brain. You're like, wait, I've seen this before. Where have I seen it? And if I can create a little bit of stress at the academy, because it's like pass, fail, and they get yelled at and whatever, that's the little bit of stress you can introduce after you've built them up. It's wild going back to some of the shootings we've had at PD. I told you I'm a huge fan of our range program at Coeur d'Alene. Our citizens invest in that program, and I think it's bore fruit with some of our uses of force in town. But you watch some of those videos, and those guys are like, before they're off the X, man, they do work, and then they do a tactical reload, and they don't even know they did it. It's like boom, boom, boom. They get back, and they're up, and then they're back on. And it's like, do you know how many shots you fired? No, which is totally common, by the way.
Yep.
It's extremely rare to know how many that you actually fired. But do you know you reloaded? Like, did you know? No, I had no idea. But that's good training to me.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Or they come off rifle and go to. It's cool. It's fun to watch when you can see the training come full circle.
Yeah, there's nothing better. I had a dude that worked in my office. He got in a shooting a couple years ago after I was already gone, and I was talking to him about it after, and he's like, it was just like however many scenarios we did. He said, it was a pursuit. Guy shoots at him. He gets out of the vehicle, starts retreating to the back of the vehicle, returning fire the whole time. Like, perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Exactly as you would want.
Yeah.
And he told me that. I was like, fuck, man, you must have had a good range officer, dude. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, because exactly, it's part of I mean, that's been ingrained because what do they say? You revert back to your lowest level of training,
Yes.
something like that,
Yes.
in times of heightened stress. There's no like game time, like all of a sudden you're going to rise. It doesn't work that way. I don't know if there's any, in your experience, is there any replication for reps or is there any substitute for reps?
Yeah. Actually, quality reps versus just grinding out brute force reps and doing reps in the correct brain state. So if you're just doing rep after rep after rep and going on autopilot, the cerebellum, which is the error correcting part of the brain, is going to check out. And you're going to lose 40, 60, 80% of the learning benefit of the reps.
So how do you prep yourself to go into this knowing that you're going to do some dry firing?
So you want to add variety.
Okay.
And one of the simplest ways to add variety is to imagine that you're standing in front of, or on top of a compass rose, and with north in front of you and northeast, east, southeast, etc. And instead of just standing with a perfect stance and drawing and shooting each time, lean in each of the 8 compass directions, or step in each of the 8 compass directions. And just that variability, if you do 9 reps, you've got 9 different reps instead of 9 identical reps. You end up with a more resilient technique, because if you're leaning 45 degrees to the side, the presentation is different than if you're standing straight up and down.
Right.
And if you don't practice it, it's going to be novel in a high stress situation, and you're not going to do as well. There's going to be a lag.
Yeah.
If you practiced it, it's going to be easy. You're not going to think about it.
Right. The goal is to hit, as many possible scenarios. That was always what, when I was training people for, officer safety, whatever, kind of introduce odd scenarios so that if it happens in real life, it's not the first time it's ever happened to them.
Yep.
Shooting prone, shooting under a car, whatever, hitting things like that. So that if they ever have to do it, they're like, well, I've done this before. It might not be ideal, but it's not my first time here.
We were able to get some cars from Schaefer's brought them in, and we actually practiced shooting out of the windshield.
Yeah.
Not only to see what that was like, but to see what happens to your rounds.
Yeah.
Right, so you'd have paper outside of it. That'll never leave me. I now understand that you'd think that going out of a window it's going to dump the bullet down. It doesn't. It actually creates friction on the top and it goes up.
It's cool. Right. It's such a useful thing to have experienced that, right?
But those are the ones that stay. And then you look at some of the, we all watch law enforcement's just the typical one, because I think that's the most, deadly force incidents. Those are the most readily available videos to watch. But you just wonder what type of training there was. And I'm sure a lot of those officers, when they go punch holes in paper, they're 358 out of 360, 359 out of 360. When you're standing there with a perfect base and it's beep, boom,
yep,
boom, boom. But shootings aren't like that.
No, never. I used to get cars too, which was the coolest thing ever. And we'd hang gallon jugs full of water where each head of a passenger or driver would be, with different colors on the water, so you could go up and call out a different color. And the guys loved it because it's so valuable. I mean, most of what we were doing was traffic stops, so being able to understand, will my bullet penetrate the B pillar of a car? I don't know. Let's find out.
No, it won't.
Right.
No, it won't.
But it's like understanding that with the guys, and what's it like to shoot through a window if I have to shoot somebody in the back seat, or through the windshield or whatever. Like, it's so much value in that, and it was super fun.
Well, we got the benefit of a SWAT. We got a lot of reps, so it was very much about fundamentals. But then you would involve stress and exercise, so you'd be gassed, which could very well happen for your shooting.
Yeah.
You chase somebody, and then all of a sudden you're in a fight for your life, and then the shooting's on. That's a totally different animal, and then it really tests your fundamentals, because that part of your brain, the rational part of your brain might not be there, right? The problem-solving part of your brain might not be there.
I was obsessed with that to such a level. It was hard to get guys to buy in. You know what I mean? Like normal road guys, we'd call, if I'm running a range for the day, I'm out there all day and I'm in my BDUs. Yeah. But these guys are in tans, and it's like they don't want to get sweaty. You know what I mean? So it was rare that I could get them to do the cool stuff, but putting on a running gun and forcing them to get their heart rate up, like I was obsessed with it, because it's so beneficial. Just even from the fight world, understanding how things
Yeah.
change when your heart rate's
Right.
up really high and you have to calm yourself down, or your heart's just hammering in your chest, and like trying to find motor skills, like all of the things, dude. So I almost took it too far one time. We had a medic in our office, and I was like, hey, what do you think would happen if you hit me with an EpiPen and then I had to go in and shoot? She's like, absolutely not.
I like where your head's at, though.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
God, this is the next level, dude. Yeah, she shut me down on that. But no, like, it's so freaking beneficial, and a lot of people don't do it. Do you incorporate any of that? Sorry, we're talking a lot. Do you incorporate any of that, or is like, I can see such a benefit in dry firing and building those fundamental skills as a stepping stone to get into what we're talking about right here. Is that kind of how you look at it?
You mean escalating the stress?
Yeah. But the importance of dry fire training to really hammer in those fundamentals.
Oh, yeah. And one of the biggest reasons is because you can push safety with dry fire in ways that you can't with live fire.
Right.
You can have guys go out, the Spokane range with grass, have them be sprinting between barrels while shooting with airsoft.
Yeah.
And probably don't want to do that with live fire to start with.
Yeah, that's valid.
It's not for everybody. No.
Well, you bring up a good point. Those simunitions or airsoft rounds are a huge training benefit.
Dude.
We finally went to, for a multitude of reasons. I mean, if it's force on force, getting shot with those sucks. It's immediate, like negative reciprocity.
Well, you don't even need the projectile.
Yeah.
So
Just blanks, huh?
Ken Murray and I'm one of his master instructors. And so Ken was a co-founder of Simunitions and wrote the book Training at the Speed of Life, and is kind of the granddaddy of modern reality-based training. And so we go around and do instructor training around the country. And both of us, about 2016, 2018, started switching away from primarily projectile and the pain penalty to primarily blanks.
Did you get the same result?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do the majority of the training with blanks, no
Really?
projectiles whatsoever. And the projectiles really only benefit a small percentage of shooters.
I think they're just to look cool, because if you do it with a t-shirt on, that's what a real man does.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it creates an episodic emotional episodic memory. Doesn't necessarily build skill. It teaches you what not to do, but not what to do.
I agree with you. I saw that too. I did a lot of simunition training, doing active shooter stuff or just scenarios in the office. And a lot of times we would just use blanks, because we might have been in a situation where, in an office or something where they don't, even non-marking simunition rounds can sometimes damage things.
Yep.
So just firing blanks. And from what I saw, I agree, it elicited the same physiological response in people of like, oh shit. Like it induces stress.
Well, if you think about going into a room where you've got 10 role players and one guy's all kitted up with the gear ready to be shot and the other 9 aren't,
Right.
you know who you're going to shoot.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
If you've got 10 people in a room and everybody's got iPro on and that's it,
Yeah.
it's way more realistic.
Yeah.
You're feeding off of the right indicators rather than he's got the suit on, he's my target.
Right.
That's
You're
valid.
absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, we'd call that training scars.
Yeah.
The same with the ninjas in the trees.
Yeah.
Or my scenario that you helped me with, where as soon as the shooting happens, they just stare at you. Like, oh, King's X. No. That's not the way, like, continue, right?
If you stopped there, that's a perfect way to create a training scar.
Yes.
Is by not continuing that whole scenario out a little bit.
Or they shoot and they think it's over, right? Like, that's not the way it works. I've seen plenty of people take lethal rounds and continue moving for a long period of time and continue to be a threat for a long period of time. So, yeah, I'm all about that. I think training quality is hugely important in making it real world scenario. How do you think, so you travel all over the country.
Yeah.
Have you taught local agencies here?
Not a ton. We've got a class coming up in Spokane this next spring.
What is it?
It's Training at the Speed of Life.
Oh, nice.
So it's a instructor level course for running reality-based training programs.
Cool. And a lot of that foundation is for science related principles.
Yeah, Ken and Bill have been working together for a decade. So,
oh, very cool.
Have you been into? I feel like it'd be very beneficial to get into academies. Get them while they're really just learning it, and kind of help build those fundamentals there. Have you ever taught in like a police academy when they're still young?
Yeah, it's normally what happens is there'll be a sponsoring agency, and the class will be 25 to 30 seats. Mm-hmm. And so the sponsoring agency will take a few, and then neighboring agencies and programs will send in instructors to take the training with them.
Yeah, so you're a train the trainer course. You're a trainer,
yes.
Yeah, and then the trainer goes back and takes it back.
Yep.
I'd be super curious because the guy I told you about, he generally runs the ranges for the academy, and he does a good job building it up. Those first 2 days for him are really frustratingly difficult, just because you're having to cater to a lot of different levels. You've got some guys that are pretty high speed coming out of military, and they've run guns for a long time, and then other ones that have never touched one before. But,
and then the most dangerous, the ones that think they know how to run a gun.
Yes, absolutely. But then picks it up. But even that, it's very much principles based, not punching holes in paper. Mm-hmm. But I assume other states are very similar. What's your qualification? In California, you used to have a qualification, right?
Yeah.
Punching holes in paper.
Yeah.
You had to punch holes in paper good enough.
Do it, right.
Yeah.
Which is, and it was pretty challenging. A lot of people had to remediate it. But you're right. You're not inducing, there was different positions. There was no stress induced other than the stress of like an actual test. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, they've got the, there was a SWAT shooting one that was, why can't I think of the governing body for SWAT teams right now? But that one was moving and shooting. Like there was a lot of different applications in there, gunfighting stuff as opposed to marksmanship stuff. Yep. Mm-hmm. Two different sides of the house, connected, but two different sides of the house.
And important, like when if I had time and, enough rounds to shoot at the range, and we shot monthly my department, I'd try to take like 50 rounds and just I would do a warm up with them of, hey, we're going to do 10 rounds. I just want you to focus on trigger squeeze, 10 rounds on grip, whatever, and just kind of hammer down the fundamentals prior to getting into a moving and shooting scenario.
Yep.
Just so you get those repetitions too. I asked you this at the beginning, what was the biggest issue that you trained into people, and flinch was that's a huge one, even cops.
Yeah.
So, getting reps of just squeezing the trigger, I when I think about it, I disassociate my trigger finger from the rest of my body almost in a way, and it's just like a nice squeeze. But I would see guys, and I'll still do it occasionally when I'm shooting fast. I'll catch myself dipping. I'm like, son of a bitch, just reset, hold on.
Well, there's a difference between shooting fast, and having your timing off.
Yes.
And flinching, where it's the amygdala basically hijacking the motor movement of your
anticipating
hand.
That recoil, right? Where that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and there's so many. So we use drills that basically deactivate the amygdala. And an example, an officer in New Jersey, was it last year, 2 years ago? Anyhow, she had a mandatory qual and hadn't been able to pass any of her quals. And every instructor in the area had worked with her. And Marcus went in and was doing an instructor training and asked the instructors to bring their hardest students. And so she was one of them. And she shot, and she was hitting the ground from 15 feet away. She was flinching that bad.
Dang.
And she said the best advice she'd gotten so far was to aim about 6 feet high.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And so Mark did the amygdala, it's called amygdala deactivating eye movement. And basically what you do is you dry fire with the cert or with a dead trigger on your pistol while going back and forth with your eyes. Oh. And it the visual system activates over 60 parts of the brain. And when you go back and forth like that, it's going back and forth from one side to the other. And the bilateral stimulation calms the amygdala.
So then just literally looking back and forth like that.
Yeah. combined with the stressor.
I imagine it's not swinging your head. It'd have
No,
to be eye movements.
Eye movement. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do your head too, but the eye movement's what's important.
Crazy.
So she went from hitting the ground to on target. Did it one more time. 20 seconds. One more time, and she was 4 or 5 inches low. Did it a third time, and she was shooting one whole group for the first time in her career. Wow. No change in technique.
Freaking voodoo science, man.
No, it's neurology.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's voodoo science. It's awesome.
Everybody's been focused on mechanics.
Yeah.
It's not mechanics causing the problem.
It's
the brain that causes muscles to flinch when we don't want them to.
I think I have an advantage here. I'm pretty sure I permanently disabled my amygdala when I was in college. So
Yeah.
you might have done that in the Navy. I don't know. A little too much booze.
Probably.
Too much booze.
Yeah.
Some head injuries.
Little stale beer hops. It's at least suppressed ever so slightly. But that's what I'm saying. You're coming at it from a different angle.
And I haven't actually heard. And I wasn't full-time range staff. We have a very good range staff that was at the academy full-time. That's all they did. But even in my I haven't come across this. We had drills that we would get to work with people, but it wasn't brain science.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty cool. You hearing a success story like that, because I had officers that were notoriously bad shots, and somehow I'd made it, and had 15 years on the job, and you're like, holy shit. But I can't fix you. I don't know what you're doing, but this might, you know what I mean? That something like that might have fixed them. They just muddle through. Yeah,
it's like a hack.
It is a hack. It's a brain hack, man.
It's like your brain. Get your brain out of your way.
It's brain training.
Yeah, crazy.
So technically, a hack is using something in a way it wasn't designed to be used.
Yeah.
Brain training is training the brain to do what it was designed to do.
Very interesting.
By moving your eyeballs. It all makes sense because, look, I fully buy into the force science side because I watched it.
Yeah.
You're like, man, those guys, you can see why they're faster. It totally makes sense. But this is just like preparing your brain to use the appropriate part of it.
Yeah,
it's
scenario. Taking control from the amygdala and giving it back to the prefrontal cortex,
which is the rational decision-making part of your brain.
Executive centers.
Well, and that's the training I was talking about with the bag training. That's where I feel like stuff like that can help get you back to your prefrontal when you rep it, right? Because the amygdala is like your response center, right? Like that's immediate action. Mm-hmm. In the moment, fight or flight response, and trying to train yourself to come out of and Force Science said the really, really good ones can go into it and come back fast, right? And kind of float it because just depending on where that threat's coming from. Your amygdala is going to get activated, right, during a fight or flight response. That's part of being human. But
I've always wondered, when I think of like tier 1 operators, Delta, SEAL Team 6, whatever, do these guys, if they're hitting a house, is their heart rate even elevating that much? Or have they had so many repetitions? Are they already predisposed to being calm all the time? Some people are just like that.
Right.
That, when they're doing these high risk situations, are they even having to deal with that much, that increased heart rate?
It all depends on the individual.
Yeah.
A lot of the training for, any tactical application is filtering. So guys who have the abilities get through the filter, guys who don't have the abilities don't get through the filter.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a natural selection process.
Yeah.
And what we've looked at is how do we engineer it? So if you've got a shooter who is incredible at 90% of what he has to do and sucks at the other 10, how do we change things in the brain so that they're able to do that last 10?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But yeah, it's some guys go up and down, some guys kind of flatline.
Yeah.
They just don't have near the adrenal response that a typical person would.
It's kind of biologically, I understand why we have it, but it's also kind of a superpower to be able to control it that much.
Yeah.
Or not have it, because we've talked about it before. Mm-hmm. I went through a period where I was getting adrenaline dumps, for no reason I could figure out. and it was related to physical altercations more, which I have a long history with. So, and it was so debilitating. You know what I mean? If you were in that field where you're like a tier 1 guy and you're having to hit houses and you were getting that, like you'd be out of the game. There's no way you could function. I would get like my knees would be shaking, my vocal cords off. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And for no real reason. It was just like some slight perception I had of something about the way a person was standing or talking. I don't know. And it was tough. It took me a long time to get out of that.
Well, a lot of times that can be a combination of things. So there's a concept I teach called a threat bucket. And so take somebody who's been concussed and they're in a crowd. If their directional hearing is accurate and they know where people are based on where they're hearing sounds, their threat level is low. If their directional hearing is off, all of a sudden anxiety and stress and threat level in a crowd goes through the roof. And it's super, super common after concussions and TBIs.
Is this why I refuse to wear earbuds in the gym? Like I just cannot do it.
Might be a big part of it.
To hear what's going on around me. Everyone thinks I'm crazy.
I don't think it's that crazy.
No,
I get that.
Like I just have to. And you're right. Like in a crowd, I can if it's too much noise. You know what I mean? You can't differentiate what's what. Like I'm very uncomfortable in that situation. I'm like put my back to a wall. But if it's not that much and you can actually pick out different voices and you can hear people moving around, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it allows the brain to predict. It predicts, am I safe or is there a threat coming from that direction? Is there a threat coming from that direction?
Your brain likes to cheat.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
It likes to fill in gaps and predict and have as much info on the front end as possible.
So one of the ways you can work on that, it won't work here with headphones on, but shut your eyes and have somebody snap in front of you.
Okay.
And reach out and grab where you hear the snap.
Yeah.
And you might be dead on, you might be off 10, 20, 30 degrees. So it's not uncommon. Like I ruptured this eardrum, I've got 80, 90% hearing loss. So sometimes there'll be a snap here and I'll reach here.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. And in my brain, my central nervous system, my threat level's higher when that's going on.
Right, because you can't perceive where that's coming from.
Is this the same concept of how I don't hear 50% of what my wife says?
It's called auditory exclusion.
Yeah.
Selective hearing. Yeah.
Liar, you never said that. Like, no, I definitely did.
Were we making eye contact? That's what I always say. Were we making eye contact?
You need to get my attention.
That's important. That's wild.
I'm so fascinated by the brain, and I wish, once again, I wish these were things I knew when I was in my 20s.
Right.
But I didn't.
So when somebody's explaining that they have problems with, because really this is about human performance.
Yes.
This isn't even about shooting or gunfighting. It's human performance. Yeah. Do you automatically go that way? You're like, okay, what exercise is going to shut off this part of their brain or get them back into this part?
Yeah, a lot of times, depending on what somebody's dealing with, a lot of times I could tell just from talking with them what parts of the brain are either overperforming or underperforming, and then have them do drills and see a pretty darn quick improvement.
Are these drills in your books?
Some of them are.
Some of them? Okay. Yeah. You got Real World Gunfight Training and Red Dot Mastery.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And these are all available to the public?
Yes.
Cool.
Amazon? Is that where you get them?
Reddotmastery.com, realworldgunfighttraining.com,
okay,
and ADHDadvantage.com.
I want to talk about that next, actually. Let's dive into that right now because literally we say this all the time, that ADHD is a superpower. Like we talk about this all the time. And then, we connected. I saw that you have this book and I was like, holy crap, that's our world.
This is the one I'm taking first.
What got you down this road?
Oh, I have ADHD.
Yeah.
And it was a superpower. The concussions made it a huge problem.
What are some of the symptoms that you notice in yourself? Like if a guy's out there and he's like, like us, I joke about it. I don't know, I've never been diagnosed or anything, but like what are the obvious symptoms of someone that has it?
So that gets really challenging. So there's different kinds of ADHD. And the reason for that is because if you look at the definition of ADHD, it's a collection of symptoms. And that collection of symptoms can happen because somebody's born with certain wiring in their brain. It can happen because of concussions. It can happen because of nutrient deficiencies. It can happen because of medication. It can happen because of all sorts of different things.
Okay.
And the biggest things that I see are challenges with attention, with focus, with self-discipline, and inhibition, or not doing the things that you don't want to do, or not saying the things that you don't want to say.
I have definitely have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's valid.
And it all comes back again to the fight between the amygdala and the front of the brain.
Do you have drills for that, or is this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. There was he's still active duty. He said I can talk about it, but I don't want to say his name.
Okay.
So 18 years ago, he had 2 pretty good TBIs on a deployment. It's been SF the whole time, and hasn't been able to read a book. From the drills, actually the drill set in both the ADHD book and Red Dot Mastery, he went through, did the drills, the follow-along drills in the book, and was able to read again for the first time in 18 years.
Wow.
Oh, that was going to be a part of this, because a lot of the stuff you're talking about, yeah, look, everybody likes gunfighting. It's cool, right? Like, it's awesome, and everybody wants to be faster. Everybody wants to be more efficient. But this seems to transcend that and move into other parts of life. Like, there's probably some of these that would help some folks not.
Right. I mean, gunfighting is honestly a very low probability for most of us to be involved in. But figuring out how to live a better life is a high probability. Like, I think that's a huge benefit.
Well, I'm excited to read it just to see how I can, what small exercises with my brain can I employ when I recognize that I've got one of these spells.
Yep.
Right? When you're in one of these ruts.
How are we going to get Dave to read that? Our partner Dave, I think he runs in the camp of he can't read because his ADHD is so pronounced.
Well, it's hard to read when you're sprinting at 20 miles an hour everywhere all the time. That'd be challenging. You're bouncing all over the place.
So we'll have to learn the concepts, and then we will start to apply them to Dave for himself, and then maybe we can get him there. But
you trick him. It's like drugging him. You know what I mean? We'll just every once in a while.
But I mean, he's super high performing.
Yes.
Like the most high performing person I've probably ever met, and so that's when you hear it's a superpower.
Well, yeah, anybody, any explorer they basically had ADHD to some extent or another. And the book Driven talks about the ADHD mind in a very unique way. And the challenge again is the ADHD has been that label has been created for a group of symptoms. A lot of times people who have those symptoms, the reason that they have them is because their brain is wired very differently. It's a radial brain instead of a linear brain. It's not as satisfied with successes. You take somebody, a neurotypical person, if they win an award, they're going to be happy about it for an extended period of time. The more somebody tends towards ADHD, the quicker they're going to go to what's next. Well, that was cool. All right, what's the next challenge? And
are you doing a little introspection right now, Eric?
Not at all. I'm very linear in the way that I.
And one of the things Driven talks about is if you've got somebody in a valley hunting, the ADHD person is going to get bored with that valley and switch before they kill all the animals. And so it's going to replenish.
Right.
They're going to go to the next one. They're going to get bored. They're going to go to the next one. They're going to get bored. They're going to go to the next one.
This is great. Very good. I feel like this is a what do you call when you get a collection of people and you get called out for something? What is this?
An intervention?
An intervention. That's what this. I used to get called out all the time for if Zig ever listens to this, he will absolutely call. I would sell them on sitting on a dope house, and we'd be there for like I don't know, 20 minutes. Like, you see that car go by, I'm going to go check it out. Or I just flat out make a traffic stop. It's like a mile away. He's like, what are you doing? It's like, look, this one went by. It was way better than the other one was. I couldn't sit on that for that much longer. I couldn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah. I had to immediately. Squirrel brain is what I call it. Squirrel brain. Something bright and shiny goes by.
Well, we need both.
Yeah.
We need absolutely positively need people who want to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and who do not get distracted easily. And then we need people who can shift directions quickly, have hyper focus for a period of time, and then shift directions quickly again.
You can see that come out. I'm really good at like starting projects and getting them to like 75 or 80% of completion. And then I'm on to the next one.
Accurate.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Yes. And then you're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this bores me now. And my career decisions, I've been like 10 years military.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got that figured out. I'm going to just do law enforcement. And I was like, oh, I think I got that pretty well figured out. I'm going to do something else. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
So I needed your book a while ago, I think.
But you're right. Having both, my wife and I I'm more like this. My wife is the person that can just hyper focus for a long period of time and then finish things. So yeah, I have a stupid idea and then I start it and then she takes it over and runs with it. And it's been very successful for our marriage. And now she's like that person on our real estate team. So
which is great.
It's very helpful. Yeah.
She has a bunch of chaotic individuals.
Yeah. So you're right. Like partnering with people, whether in as a spouse in life or in a business, that come from both sides is huge.
Mm-hmm. What's your take on medicating this?
I was going to ask that too.
Why?
No, I'm just curious.
No, I mean, why would somebody, hypothetical question, why would somebody medicate it?
Because they perceive it as a disease, or they've labeled it as something that should, it's maybe because it's hard to control, especially if they're younger.
Young boys, right?
Yes.
Yep.
That's the hard one, and they're hard to control in school. But maybe the problem is the schools,
right,
and the way we're schooling them.
Well, it all comes back to the fight between the amygdala and the front of the brain. And somebody with an ADHD mind who has control in the front of the brain they're not going to have the symptoms that somebody has when their amygdala is in control. So sometimes it's knocking down threats to the central nervous system. My son, as an example, and myself too, eye coordination issues. When my eye coordination's off, it impacts my reading, but it also impacts my stress level 24/7. It impacts my ability to know where I am in a parking stall with a car. Mm-hmm. And that's super common. And the more sensory issues somebody is dealing with, the more ADHD symptoms they're going to have that people think need to be fixed.
Interesting.
But in reality, the ADHD symptoms and the other things are all, it's basically symptoms of sensory issues. So either the ears aren't communicating with each other correctly. 1,000,000 times a second, each ear sends a signal to the brain saying whether we're turning, falling, and which way gravity is impacting us. And it's super common for one of them to be over-reporting, the other to be under-reporting, and for us to have perceptual distortions in direction. So if our ears think that this is straight ahead and our eyes think that that's straight ahead, there's a conflict in our brain every waking moment of the day.
Wow. Would that cause something like vertigo?
It would cause vertigo. Mm-hmm. It would cause attention issues. It would cause rage. It would cause brain fog. It would cause saying stupid things at night.
Wild.
What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite drill to help strengthen the amygdala or tie that all back together? Like something like your go-to?
So it depends. Basically, if you think about a threat bucket and you've got different threats going into the bucket, and it could be a nutrient deficiency, Could be that somebody's they're eating their kryptonite. They're eating anti-nutrients. It could be sensory issues, could be all sorts of different things, could be environmental. All of those threats go into the bucket. And when the level of the bucket gets high enough, it overflows and the amygdala takes control. So systematically, we want to lower the threat level in our brain. Get our eyes working together correctly, get our ears working together correctly, and get our eyes and ears working together correctly. Kind of an interesting thing on that. This goes back to training, but it goes to ADHD and a lot of different things. There's a belief that we have an instinctual ability to point accurately. And every single study on pointing accuracy for the last 50 years, and that would span fighter jet cockpit design, automobile dashboard design, touch screens, and gesture-activated devices. Every single one has shown that the average person does not point accurately.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because of like I'm pointing at the camera, but my eye is offset from my arm? Is it a function of that, or is it just like a brain?
It has to do with the fact that we're correcting. So one of the easiest and coolest studies was they took a piece of cardboard and stuck it up to people's necks, and then they had them point at targets.
Oh, where they couldn't see their hand?
Yeah.
Ah.
And they were off an average of 5 degrees, which is about 5 inches at 10 feet. So some people were off a lot more than that. Some people were off less than that.
Wild.
But that's one of the reasons why the red dot doesn't show up when people present their pistol.
Because they're so far off.
Yeah. Their inner ear is doing the aiming, and then their eyes are verifying, and there's nothing there to verify. So kind of wrapping it all together, that conflict between the eyes and the ears, every time you reach out and grab something or push something, or you're walking and you hit something with your feet that you didn't expect to hit, it jacks up the threat level in the brain. That gives the amygdala more control, and it impacts attention, it impacts focus, it impacts self-control, brain fog, and inhibition.
So getting those all in line, you have some drills for that.
Yes.
Or some things that'll at least, probably just being self-aware of that would be a really good start. And then realizing there's some things you can do to get those back in line.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What do you got over there? So the outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People watching could do it with an outlet or a light switch at home.
Okay.
But if you basically cover your non-dominant eye,
Okay.
and then look at the outlet, shut your dominant eye, bring your other thumb up between your dominant eye and the outlet, and then open your eye to verify. And see if you're dead on,
Negative.
high, low, right, or
Low.
left.
I'm low.
Low.
Low?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that means we're super smart.
Nubs on the back of the head.
Okay.
Lightly tap them 5 or 10 times. And then
Okay.
try it again.
All right.
I'm close.
Yeah, I'm a lot closer.
Okay.
Slightly left, but close. I can have this thing.
Take your earphones off just a little bit. Snap about 45 degrees high. About 5 times.
There we go.
And then try it again.
I'm on the money now.
I'm very close. Just a smidge low, but left and right good.
Awesome.
Weird.
So you can do that by doing 20, 50, 75 reps of draw and press.
Yeah.
Or you can just go straight to the brain and fix the sensory integration issue.
How often do you need to fix it once you get it dialed in? Is that like every time, or if you do this once a week?
All depends on the person. I'll give you an example. When I was at my worst, I would have to do it when I was shooting national matches. I'd have to do it every hour or so. And the reason was, in addition to my concussions and the issues with my brain, I was off the charts low on vitamin B12. And B vitamins have a huge impact on your balance system.
Okay.
And your balance system controls your eyes. So it all kind of works together. Once I got that taken care of, it went from needing to do it every hour or so to every few days.
Okay.
And then it depends on what I'm trying to do. So if I'm working with an aerial gunnery program, and one of the drills I'll do with aerial gunnery program is have them be in an office chair and spinning around, have someone kick them across the floor, and they're holding their iPhone and reading it while they're moving it in a figure eight.
Whew. That's a lot.
It is a lot. You build up to it. But that way, when you bring the gun up when you're hanging out of a helicopter and trying to avoid incoming fire or just dealing with dirty air, you're able to make hits much more instinctively. You don't have to think about it. I want a hole there, and you put a hole there.
Wild. We got into a lot more than just trigger control and red dot and all that. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, these are little, and again, you're right. They're not hacks, right? It's just learning how to exercise that part of your brain, which is steering everything else, and balance and ears and sensory perception.
Yeah. Well, you've tickled my interest here.
Yeah, my curiosity
in a lot of this.
Spiked.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm always how can I improve myself, my quality of life, how I feel, all of these things, and I have not dabbled in this world.
No,
much.
not at all.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we're of the age where, throwing up in a workout is a badge of honor, right? And if you aren't just destroyed the next day, you probably didn't work out hard enough. And kind of learned over the last couple of decades that there might be some other ways to train that are
some other
a little more sustainable.
Right.
I don't have to cripple myself. Is that what you're telling me? Okay. Smart. That's smart.
It's fun in the moment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're looking at a long-term timeline,
I'm definitely at the age where I'm thinking about longevity.
Yeah.
In everything, working out, whatever. Yeah.
Well, and it can't be, because we talk about adrenal fatigue and cortisol levels and all that. Living in the amygdala cannot be healthy because that's a fight or flight response, and that's long sustained stress. There was that, I told you about that book out there. It's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, right? And they go fight or flight all the time, but it's like, boom, fight or flight, and then they're back.
Yep.
Right? Us, I think the way society's built and the way our lives, as they get more and more complicated, you tend to live in that for longer, right? Unless you train yourself to come back out of it.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to get to. I'm glad you brought that up because I couldn't remember what parts of the brain, but some of that training is all about getting to the amygdala. That's normal. Accept that. Like that's being there is a good thing.
Absolutely. That's how we get peak performance.
Yes, but
It's
then
vital.
yes, but then come back to your prefrontal cortex where it's logic and reasoning and all that stuff.
Through multiple reps, are you able to do that faster?
Yeah, you can anchor and trigger
Yeah. Okay.
both an adrenalized state and a calm state, and worked with developing some systems for teams that were doing multiple hits in a night to basically, for the people who weren't just naturally calm, how do you ramp up to an ideal level of arousal, and then wait as long as possible to do that, and then as quickly as possible afterwards come back down to normal.
Yeah, that when you were bringing up heart rate before, and you were thinking, how awesome would it be just to retain normal heart rate? There was a study they did, and they told us about this at Force Science, where they took like an elite team. It was like an SF team, like the guys that all hand signals, nonverbal communications, moving through a house. They didn't see a correlation between heart rate and performance.
Oh.
Because some people naturally have a higher heart rate, probably me, but have a naturally higher heart rate, but it was their ability to be able to come back from, having this response and then come back to the prefrontal cortex. So people are just wired a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Their adrenaline spikes and all that. So whichever way you're wired, there's a way to train that bounce back.
And
crazy.
most people do it without realizing they're training their brain.
Right. Right.
They train themselves to respond to specific stimuli in certain ways, and sometimes it's beneficial and sometimes it's not.
Well, anybody out there that's thinking about their profession, you do that every day. We do it while we're driving, right? Like you're out there looking, going, okay, there's a parking lot coming up, and you probably don't even think about it. You're looking for pre-attack or pre-threat indicators all the time.
Right.
Wild.
That's how we're wired. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. Man, you've given me a lot to chew on, Mike. I appreciate this deeply.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to have you back at some point because I think I want to, and people are going to want us to dive in deeper on these topics.
Yeah.
But this was a good taster.
Yeah, well, it's a good start because I want to read some of these
do.
and then come back and say, okay, what would you recommend for this? Here's what I'm experiencing, or here's what somebody else is, or here's what we've seen at the range. There's definitely somebody that I want to connect you with. I mean, like I said, they run a really, really good program here, and he touches on some of this stuff, but not to the degree, right? Like not the, I don't want to say brain manipulation. That sounds wrong, but not to the degree of like tapping into that particular problem. He's all about solving problems. He's really good with new shooters that are struggling, really, really good. And I just think this would give him extra tools. But
Heck yeah.
It'd be fun to get you guys connected.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Glad to know you're here in North Idaho too, man. Another asset to the community.
Yeah. Do you live out here now?
Yes.
Very cool. Like I said, how many people do we have like that out here that are changing industries just with
lot.
a completely different look at the way we used to do things?
Right.
That didn't know it was wrong in the first place, so they came up with something new that's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Catch you
Thanks,
later.
man. Bye.